Alright everybody, it's Western Wednesday time. Guys, what I got here is an old 640 that I got thanks to my wife. She picked this thing up in an auction a while back, a long time ago. And she made a sheath for it, then I started working on it, then I quit working on it, and then I started working on it again today. But guys, we have an old Western 640. Here, let's look and see if we can see the model number 640 we got in there. Western USA. Now, if we look at the tang stamp, this is a 1961 through 77 knife. I forget what year it was they started putting the model number there in the brass. I've been told before, but I can never remember. But what I'm going to do is we're going to look at this knife right now, and then I'm going to pull up a picture of what this thing looked like when I first got it. You'll see in the picture that this thing's pretty rough, to say the least. Like I said, I'm going to put them pics up. I'm going to put them up here. There's one of each side here, so if we'll look at it compared to this side, and then we'll look at it compared to this side. Now, it took me a while to get it to this where it's at today. But what I want to do is I'm going to cut from this video here in just a second and take you through what I done. And I lost some footage of actually getting this down to where it's at right now. I don't know if I accidentally deleted the videos, but it shows me taking it to 220 grit. It doesn't show me taking this all the way and shining it up and things like that. But yeah, guys, this is just an old Western 640. I did put an edge on it. And you'll see that how I did it in this video. I used the precision, or the Kid Onion Work Sharp with the Kid Onion blade grinding attachment, but I haven't even stropped it. I just used the belts. Just used the belts, and we got this far from where you seen where it was at before. How rusty it was and crusty and everything. But if we look, I'm going to pull up also, and we're going to see what it says about the 640, and I'm going to put this up there as well. But the 640 is a carbon steel saber ground 4 3/8 inch blade, stag pattern Delrin handle, overall length 8 inches, embossed leather sheath. Now again, we don't have the original leather sheath, but Sarah was trying her hand at making a sheath, and she made this right here. It's a pocket dropper sheath. There is no belt loop on it, but man, this thing works great for this knife. Like I said, I've had this knife for quite a while. She made the sheath before I even cleaned the knife up, but there it is. Alright, so guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut to the footage, and then we're going to regroup and come back here and talk about this and end the video. Now this one right here is kind of needing a little bit of work, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to record a little bit of it, and we're going to talk about it and whatnot. But it's a Western 640. My wife bid on an auction. There were 3 knives. She won it with like a $25 bid. I got this one, a Schrade Walden. If you go back a couple of weeks, you'll see the video of me cleaning that one up. And then a Mexican Taurus knife. So today we will just want to work on this one, talk about it, take some sandpaper to her, get this cleaned up a little bit. That way it'll look even better in this sheath that my wife made for it. So you got her maker's mark there, the SD. But she done a pretty, this is her first real fixed blade sheath that she had made. Now, the only problem is she made it, she was just kind of a prototype, but she didn't put a belt loop on it, which is perfect. And it's left-handed, so it's great to fit right down in the left-hand front pocket. So that's what I'm going to use it for. But back to this one. If we look at the tang stamp, it just has the Western 640. Now I'm going to cut in a copy of the tang stamps here so we can kind of look and date this. But by what I'm seeing with it just having the Western and the USA right below it in the middle, it's a 61 through 77 knife. I'll also throw in a picture of this in a 1980s catalog, so you guys can kind of see what it looked like in the catalogs when the catalogs come out. But let's measure here. If we measure it, she's an 8-inch knife. You know, it goes from 4 to the 12. They advertise it as an 8-inch knife. And the blade length they advertise is 4 3/8 for the total blade length. Now the total cutting length we're seeing about 3 3/4 inches right here. So, and the model number on this is in the brass guard here. Now, I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard, but that it's got a 640 right down in here. So when I clean this up, I'm hoping this all kind of pops. The only hard part's going to be is cleaning this right here up without marring the Delrin handle scales. But I'm going to try my best. I'm pretty good at this stuff, and you know, you look at what the knife looks right now, how much worse can I honestly make it? So I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to get to work on this, and I'll bring you along for the ride, but we do got a divot right here. So once I get this cleaned off, I'm planning to take that out there on my belt and try to get that out, I guess. I don't know. We're going to find out, though. We're going to see what happens. Just a little bit of update. This thing is pitted beyond belief. Look at the pitting in that. Really couldn't tell how pitted it was when I first started, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, to get that out, we're going to have to thin this knife way down. You can see the pitting. It goes all the way out here. So I don't know if this thing laid in a mud puddle for about 4 years or what. I'd say it got put up really, really dirty and wet, and then it just corroded inside the sheath because we didn't get the original sheath with it. So then we got a nice little divot there. I'll have to get out with a belt, but yeah, it's pitted pretty bad. I'm going to keep going on this and get it as good as I can get it by hand. I love doing this stuff by hand. So if you look at the handle's still great. Usually what happens is this right here gets real pitted, or this right here is not pitted at all. This is just some surface rust. You know, I've had it to where it's flaked off on these Western blades, but so this is still in great shape. So we just got to get the blade to where it's usable. Here, let's get us a good, see if we can get it. Yeah, you guys see how it is pitted beyond belief underneath all that. I couldn't believe it. So the other side isn't as bad. We'll get her to focus really good here. The other side wasn't as bad. It's just this right here. I don't know what in the world they cut into with that. Anyway, I'm going to keep going, and I will bring you guys along. I'll give you little updates. I don't know how good I'm going to be able to get this by hand, to be honest with you, but we're going to try. Give it the old college try. All right, everybody, we're here. We got the 640. We got it cleaned up fairly decent. I mean, I don't know how well that's going to come in. Again, I'm out here in my little workshop area with the work sharp. But if we look, we still have some pitting on the blade. I just couldn't get it out. This side's a lot worse. Like, this side must have laid in something at one time. But, I mean, we'll look at the pommel. Still pretty decent. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit with the progressions on the kid onion blade grinding attachment. If you look, we got a nick here in the blade that we definitely need to get out. So I don't know if I'll be able to get it all the way out, but I should be able to get it pretty sharp with this thing. We got her put on 20 degrees. That's pretty decent. So let's go get to work, and we're going to sharpen this thing. Now, one thing I wanted to point out was the tip was pretty blunt on this. This machine right here is very good for getting a tip put back on a knife, so I'll be working on that as well. So I just wanted to mention that. All right, now if you look, we do got a tip put back on it. It is pretty keen tip. The thing is, my grind out towards the tip was getting a little fat, so I had to kind of tilt her up to kind of smooth her down a little bit. So I'm gonna run her through the progressions here, see if I can get her to look somewhat decent. Again, we look at what that thing looked like when I first got it, so it's definitely improved. So we'll just keep working at it here. Alright, this thing's pretty easy to use, guys. Look, we still got the keen tip on her there. I don't know how well that's going to come in. Got the sunlight there. Got the garage door open, but yeah, usable knife. We're going to make it a usable knife. Alright, we've got 2 belts left. All the chickens are laying. You see we got that sharpened down here where that nick is, but that shouldn't affect it too much. And you have to take too much blade off to get up above it. So again, we're just making this a usable knife. We're not restoring this to 100% factory because it's just going to be impossible due to the pitting. But to have a usable knife to carry around, hey, why not? I don't know if I've ever did a video using this thing or not, but I use it quite a bit for hatchets and whatnot, mower blades, stuff like that. But if we look hanging up here, I got all kinds of axes and hatchets and stuff. So look at the edge on that one. I've got all kinds of stuff hanging here. Just all kinds of hatchets and stuff. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Pretty sharp. So if you're looking, see the edge is pretty shiny. It's pretty sharp. Got us a decent tip on it. Tip, she's a little fat here on one side, but again, I'm really not that much worried about it. We seen what this thing looked like when I first got it, and we're just making it a user. Just a user. Alright guys, we're going to head back inside. Alright, now one thing I wanted to mention, like if you own one of these, what I do is I buy the 3x18 belts at like Menards or somewhere, then I cut them into 1-inch chunks and they fit on there perfectly. And I get like the 80 grit, and you can really use those belts to really get your edge going fast, especially if you're using an axe or a mower blade or something to sharpen up. But yeah, again, it's just 80 grit 3x18 belts, and I keep them. If you look at that tub right there, I have some. And man, talk about making your work go fast. And works out really good. That way you're not spending all this money on these Ken Onion belts. You know, I can save these belts for actual really nice knives, old knives, stuff like that. And you know, use that 80 grit 3x18 belts that I cut down for hatches, axes, whatever I want to use it for. But if you get one of these, you definitely got to get the blade grinding attachment that goes on them. The other thing they sell with it, I don't even use it. I just use the blade grinding attachment, and that's all I use. The other thing's kind of, I don't know. I should do a video on this thing. The other thing is kind of, you know, sits in there like this, and you put each side down. The belts, I don't know. It can really mess up a knife if you don't know what you're doing, or if you're not paying attention, or even if you are paying attention. Sometimes it can just mess it up because it's just not a very good thing to use on a good knife. All right, guys, we're going back. All right, guys, as you can see, you kind of looked how I go through it by hand with the sandpaper. You looked at the blade, and we got this nick right here that I was able to actually get an edge down below that nick. So it's still there, but I mean, it's not, you can't even hardly feel, it's just discoloration at this point. But if you look, we got a nice edge down there. I did cut some paper before we cut away. I haven't even, like I said, I haven't stropped this. Just going to wipe it off on my jeans real quick. And again, this is just by using the blade grinding attachment. So, I mean, she is sharp. But guys, this is my Western Wednesday video. Again, it's not an open tag, but if you want to shoot a video on a Western knife and tag me or call it Western Wednesday, I don't care. I'll watch every single second of it because I just dig these old blades. And we took this thing that just looked like a crusty pile of poop, and we've actually made it into a usable knife now. It isn't the greatest looking knife. It is pitted, but we have an edge on it. It does need stropped, but I mean, you can use this knife right here for years to come. You can. So yeah, we'll look at the handle of it. Well, I even got the rust off of that. This side we still got discoloration down in there, but that was hard to get to with sandpaper. But this is it. This is my Western Wednesday video. Hopefully me putting all this footage together worked out a little bit. But guys, hey, like, subscribe, leave me a comment, tell me what you think about it.